Now, one way to say that this is kind of necessary, you can say seem to be a must. A must. And this means the same thing as it seems necessary or it's needed. So that was a very, very long paragraph, a long dialogue. So let's take a look at the whole thing together. Listen very carefully.
Total dating duration, 3 years. Total amount of days encountered, 730 times. Finally, we are getting hitched next Sunday.
Although I don't know you by face, congratulations. Have you finished preparing for the wedding?
We have little more to go. We have to finish sending out the invitations via email. But more importantly, we have yet to sign a contract for our first apartment.
Do you mind if I ask how the two of you met?
We got closer through Twitter and ended up dating. I knew it the first time I saw her. That is, we are destined for each other.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Take it or leave it.
I feel like the roles are divided in Korea. Men are responsible for the houses, whereas the women are responsible for the furnishings.
Frankly put, the pressure is monumental for Korean men looking to get married. Over drinks, people say that you can't even get married anymore with little income.
You're right. Financial support from the parents seem to be a must.
Now that we've come across a whole array of new expressions, let's apply it to different contexts. We learned today, 트위터로 친해졌습니다. We learned this so quickly that you should remember this. We got, what? 친해지다. Literally to come close, right? So we got closer through what? Twitter, through Twitter. I'm just going to use a capital T. We got closer through Twitter. Let's apply it to different contexts. 정치 수업을 함께 들으며 친해졌습니다. 정치 수업은 political science course라고 해요. Political science course. And although it seems a little bit more complicated, it's the same expression. We got closer through a political science course. We got closer through a political science course. Different expression, please. 같은 취미로 인해 친해졌습니다. Now the Korean verbs keep changing, but the same expression for the English language is going to be applied here. 같은 취미는 mutual interest라고 하거든요. 자, how would you explain this? We got closer through a mutual interest. So all the same, we got closer through a mutual interest. So take away that, we got closer through it. Anyway, now we're ready to move on to the next figure of things. So let's move on to Twitter writing 140. Follow me. It's time to take a closer look at, of course, your creative expressions. Let's take a look at today's example. Listen carefully.
고등학생 때는 24살에 결혼하고 26살에 아기를 낳는 것이 꿈이었는데 내년에 벌써 24살이다. 시간 참 빠르다.
I am a bit of a guilty here. That was my dream as well. So today I want to take a closer look at, of course, the topic of wedding. So let's move on to the screen and see what you have prepared for me. You have translated, when I was in high school, I want to marry at 24 and have baby at 26. That was my dream. Now I love how you have it. That was my dream. Something about this is very poetic. You're kind of reminiscing about the time when you used to have these dreams. That was my dream. So that was perfect. But now one thing I want to fix is, of course, the first sentence. When I was in high school. That's great. But how about a comma? Because you're separating two separate ideas. I want to. You want a past tense here. You wanted to. Want is 지금 하고 싶다는 거죠? But 고등학교 때 추억에 잠긴 거니까 I wanted to marry at 24. How about I wanted to get married at 24? You need to keep things parallel, right? Get married that goes before, at 24, that's perfect, and have baby at 26. You're talking about your baby, so be specific. A baby at 26. So altogether you could say, when I was in high school, I wanted to get married at 24 and have a baby at 26. That was my dream. That was my dream. Now, one thing you skipped out right here is 시간 참 빠르다. 시간 참 빠르다. How about time flies? Time flies. This is something we learned last week, right? Time flies. And of course, I have my recommendation. It's a little bit similar, but let's look at the Korean sentence once more. 고등학생 때는 24살에 결혼하고 26살에 아기를 낳는 것이 꿈이었는데 내년에 벌써 24살이다. 시간 참 빠르다. 시간 참 빠르다. Now, one thing I want to highlight is the word adolescent. Adolescent. 뭔가 this is when you're talking about when you're young, right? When you're most likely in middle school or high school, when you're going through puberty. And literally this is talking about the time frame when you're a little bit immature intellectually and perhaps emotionally as well. We call that an adolescent stage. 뭔가 사춘기 때를 adolescent라고 합니다. My adolescent dream. 내 사춘기 때 꿈은 was to get married when I turned 24 and have a child by 26. That's pretty straightforward, right? So once more, my adolescent dream was to get married when I turned 24